I don't know if you can hear that. The pelting rain on the windshield. That's the sound of awesome. You know why? My wife is looking straight ahead at the road and ignoring me. That's the sound of awesome because we're heading to the Emerald City Comicon. We're in the car, on the road, somewhere towards the middle of Washington. My wife just said, "Woo!" I don't know if you could hear that though. Anyway, we're heading to Emerald City Comicon, the wonderful weekend that we spend in Seattle. We're very excited. We rarely get any time, just the two of us, to have fun, and this is our once a year trip that we get to do that, and we spend it with a bunch of people. What's that?
Awesome people.
Yes, awesome people. Well, some of them are awesome. Some are not that awesome.
I love you, Will Wheaton.
I'm going to tell him you said that. But as I said, it's raining, which is an improvement because it was snowing when we left our home in Moscow. My wife is shaking her head because she loves snow. I hate it. I'm hoping, though, that when we get to the Snoqualmie Pass, which is the big mountain area that we have to go over to get to Seattle from where we live, one, will not be closed, and two, will be free of snow on the road. Other than that, we're just sitting here chilling, talking, enjoying our time together. We haven't really talked about the con though, but that's usually that comes tonight when we're sitting at the dinner table somewhere, some restaurant in Seattle, and planning our next day. I always enjoy that though.
Me too.
When we're sitting there about what we're going to do, who we're going to see. We don't see Will Wheaton on Friday, do we? No, that's Saturday. Yeah. Felicia Day, though, she'll be there Friday. I think that's one of the first things, actually. So that'll be fun.
Yep.
I hope, anyway. Got my comic list, my back issue list. Got two lists, because my wife loves to help with that. What?
We forgot the camera.
Oh, crap. She just reminded me that we forgot the camera that I was going to borrow from my daughter. We got her a nice camera for Christmas. Just a point and shoot camera. We used to have one, but we took it on vacation with us last summer, and someone dropped it into the ocean.
Sorry.
But we got my daughter one because she's been needing one for a long time. We're going to bring that so I could take pictures of all the cool people and their costumes there. But that's what iPhones are for, right? We can do that on the iPhone. Sort of. Kind of. That's all right. Forgot batteries for my recorder that I'm talking into right now, so we'll have to take care of that later. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the lists. I got two lists. They're both highlighted with the things that I absolutely want to find, and then the rest are just there if we can find them. But my wife loves to help shop, so I'm more than happy to let her. But I really enjoy that. You know, I don't like shopping in general. You know that, but I do love shopping for comics. That's one of my favorite things about going to this con. You can find some great reader copies of things. So I think that's about it for now. Do you have anything else to add?
No.
All right, there you have it. This is the first part of On the Way to the Con conversations, or soliloquy, as the case may be. We'll see how it goes. Someone else in the car doesn't like to talk on air, so to speak, so it might just be me with a few occasional interludes. She's shaking her head yes. You're doing great, sweetie.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, I should have told you we should go to that rest area, but it's too late now. All right, I'm out of here. Okay. Day 1 of the Emerald City Comicon. Oh my God, I am tired. Let's see. What did we do first? Well, we got up, went to the Washington State Convention Center at about noon, wasn't it? And then went and got our passes, and then went back to the exclusives table, which they had opened up early, I guess, was what they said, to help out with the excruciatingly long lines in times past, which was really cool. So we got our swag there. We got my wife even got something last minute. They had apparently they did this beer, this Emerald City Comicon beer, which, by the way, my beautiful wife, I need to find where these restaurants are and try that out since I bought the damn shirt. But my wife, Kitra, bought a shirt too because she thought it would look pretty cool, and it does. So then we went back to where they were selling or exchanging your tickets for your passes or whatever the hell it was. But then we got into the herd lines, waiting for them to open up the doors. And that took nearly 2 hours from beginning to end. Apparently they did let us in a tad early, so shh, don't tell anybody. But got in, and it's so bizarre because in years past, I knew where things were because every time we've gone, it's been kind of the same layout in terms of the con floor. This year, it's totally different, and it's taken over the entire convention center. I don't know where anything is, and so we spent a lot of our time basically just walking around trying to find stuff. My wife is shaking her head. She's taking care of the finances as I'm recording this because she's good at it. Let's see, what did we do then? Oh, we immediately went over to, the first thing we did once we got onto the floor and once we figured out where the heck we were, we went and stood in line for me to talk to Fiona Staples, and I had her sign Saga #1, and of course I told her how much I appreciated her art and how lovely it is, and I can't wait for more. And while before that, there was a guy in front of me. I thought this was pretty cool. This guy in front of me doing the same thing essentially as I am, but he hands her this plush doll of the guy, I don't remember, the robot guy, the guy with the TV head in the book, and I should know this, but I'm so tired I don't remember anything, but he gave her a plushie doll that he made for her, and she was tickled pink about it. And he took the picture with her, and she just thought that was really cool. So I thought that was neat. And then what we do? Who'd we go see next? Was it Terry Moore? Oh, right. Yes, it was Terry Moore, because we were going to go see Scott Snyder, but that line was already way frickin' long because this is his first year at Emerald City Comicon, I think they said. And so I'm like, well, okay, I don't want to stand in line forever, even though I do want to meet Scott Snyder. So we went over to Terry Moore, and there were only 2 people there in line ahead of us. And I'm like, what the heck? It's Terry Moore. Why are people not like lined up around the corner for this guy? Anyway, so I'm standing there waiting, and just kind of watching how things are going. This lady ahead of us brought a Strangers in Paradise hardback collection, and Terry was sketching, I think it was Kachu, on the inside page of the cover, and that was pretty neat. And so then it was my turn, and I so basically I go to these things for some of these people. I don't take massive amounts of stuff for people to sign. I just take a little bit, the creators that I know that I haven't talked to before, or I'm just really excited about, like Terry Moore. And And so I had a couple of comics, Rachel Rising #1, and I bought recently an old copy of Strangers in Paradise from Homage Comics. So I had him sign those, and he had a print of a 20th anniversary Strangers in Paradise Kachu print, which was really cool. That for $10, he signed that. He signed the comics, of course. The really cool thing about this though was he shook my hand. Now, I don't know if Terry goes to a lot of cons or he just doesn't care, but most creators don't shake hands because of the con crud. But he shook, he just stuck his hand out, and I shook his hand. I told him how much I really loved his work, and I can't wait to see more of it. But I felt really bad, and I've already complained to my wife a couple of times now about this, and she always just looks at me like I'm stupid. But it was really warm in the convention center, especially when we were standing there in line waiting to get in. And once I get warm, this is just me, but once I get warm, it takes me a while to cool down. And I was still pretty warm, and so my hands were, maybe a little moister than usual. So I shook Terry Moore's hand, and with my moist hands. I'm sorry about that, Terry. Let's see, what else? Then we then go see James Robinson? Was that the very next thing? Yeah. So then we went to find James Robinson, who is in the opposite side of the convention center from where we were, from Terry Moore. And that was pretty cool. He was talking to a gentleman in front of me who had him sign like 40 billion Shade issues, or not Shade, Starman issues, and some Shade issues, but there was a nice conversation there, and this guy behind me actually had some the original Golden Age issues, not the collected edition, which is all I have. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'd like to get some of those. Anyway, so I talked to Mr. Robinson and had him sign my copy of Earth 2, #1. And then I asked him, I said, I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but, is there any word or any hope for a Shade sequel? And he said, well, there's always that chance. He said he had this idea for a Shade sequel featuring Batman and some immortal DC characters. And he thought that, in the way that he described it in terms of having different artists do it, each artist doing a different flashback sequence, kind of like how he did in the Shade, where he had a few different artists doing, 1 or 2 issues or so. Anyway, I thought that was a really cool idea. He thought maybe adding Batman might increase the sales of this series, since the Shade did not sell very well, even though he got to do the full 12-issue run. But it didn't sell very well, so there's a good chance that may not come about, but I hope it does, because that would be really cool. And then we went to see Felicia Day. She had a little panel there, and that was really cool to see her, because she's just awesome. Awesome and funny and pretty and red-haired, and she's just cool. And then we went to the DC All Access panel. That was kind of neat. Scott Snyder was there, Josh Fialkov, who is frickin' funny. The guy's sarcastic as hell, but it was funny. It was. I wish I would have been able to record it, because the things he said was just really funny. Anyway, they announced something about 100 Bullets special thing. Although what's funny, they told us it was an exclusive, or I guess I shouldn't use that word, but this is the first time that they were announcing it at Emerald City Comicon. But I actually had seen a tweet from Newsarama like 5 minutes before that, announcing the same thing that they talked about. So anyway, but it was still kind of nice that at least they're actually giving us some news, some information about what's coming out, instead of saying read Flashpoint like last year. And then what did we do after DC? Oh yeah, then we went shopping. we had a few hours to kill before dinner time, and so we went and I bought a bunch of comics. Finished up some. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember if I actually finished up any runs, but there's like a few issues here and there of things that I want to get. Oh, I got some. You know what? The best thing about it, and these are just reader copies, but that's okay. But I've been wanting to. One of the things I want to collect are all of the Teen Titans issues, including the Teen Titans stuff from the '60s. So I got a bunch of those. They're not in good shape, but I got them. And then what? I think that's about it. We just shopped. Got a bunch of comics, a bunch of swag, and really tired feet. And voice, if you can tell. My voice I'm just really tired now. It's like, what? What time is it right now? It's 9:15 on March 1st as I record this, so I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. I'm old, I know. But first we're going to go down to the pub that's down in the basement of our hotel. I'm going to have myself some Guinness. Good night. Day 2 of Emerald City Comicon. Oh my God, the people. Although we did, my wife and I did notice that it didn't seem as bad this year because everything was sprawled out at the convention center. So double the space, which means you can put more things elsewhere, which means you can disperse the people. Although there was one point where we came out of, what was it? Oh yeah, it was the movie mashup after we got done with that we came into the main hall, and it was just people as far as the eye can see. There didn't seem to be a clear spot on the floor, on the main floor. Thus, getting through the Sky Bridge was just crazy because there's all this stuff on the Sky Bridge now where there didn't used to be, and people were still stopping to take pictures of the cosplayers. And just generally being in the way. But, that's a convention, I suppose. Anyway, so we get to the convention center this morning, and the first thing that we notice is that there's a big sign that says stop. Would it say that there were no more tickets for Saturday and Sunday show? It was sold out. So there you go. I think, what did they say, 75,000? So there were 75,000 tickets. And already sold out by day 2. Probably on day 1, I think it was. But anyway, we just saw the signs this morning. So the first thing on the agenda for us was, of course, to go see the awesome Will Wheaton, our perennial favorite. And usually he does, the first time we went and saw him, it was an awesome hour. And then the next 2 times, it was an awesome hour, but it was 90 minutes of Will Wheaton, which is awesome. But this year they did it a little differently. It was still 90 minutes, but it was Will Wheaton along with Paul and Storm, which is a comedy musical duo, which I didn't know too much about before now. But now that I've seen them perform, they were kind of a surprise hit. Wouldn't you say? Yes. She says yes. If you can't hear that, I don't know if you can hear that at all with this microphone. But anyway. But we both agree that was a big surprise. So they did, Paul and Storm did their, about 20 minutes? Half hour maybe, of them doing their music, which was damned funny. What was your favorite song there that they did?
Game of Thrones song.
The Game of Thrones song. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up, but that was pretty good. What about the pirate song they did at the end with Will?
It was good.
That was, once they finally got through the comedy bits of it. The Thanksgiving song. Yeah, that was good. Anyway, so they did their musical numbers, and then out came Will. And Will did more or less a stand-up comedy routine, which is unusual for him. Usually he comes out and tells a few jokes, but then he reads a few stories, right? But I swear to God, it was like a stand-up comedy routine. It was a little different and really good. And then they brought out Paul and Storm again, and they did their own little between Will Wheaton and Paul and Storm. It was pretty funny. They put one of his stories to music. That was pretty good. And then you had the Cape of Dicks that Will brought out, although it wasn't the original Cape of Dicks, for those who know what that means. So that was good, and then we stuck around the same room for the other thing that my wife really wanted to do, or to see, and that was the movie mashup, where they bring a bunch of voice actors to perform, we thought, were scenes from various movies using their cartoon character voices, and that we thought that would be kind of fun. But it turns out that they were doing, at least before we left, they were doing Star Wars episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Scenes from that. Because the night before, they did a Star Wars mashup thing, and they started with episode 4. So apparently they had so much fun that they decided they were going to do Empire. And that was okay for a while, but my wife and I were kind of disappointed they didn't actually do what the program description was, right? Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we wanted to have just a little bit more variety. But it was fun. It was I hope you don't mind this, Kitra, but it was funny because Phil Lamar was there, and he asked to do one of the scenes in the voice of Jon Stewart. And then after we leave, we're talking about this, complaining about how they were just doing Empire. And Kitra turns to me and says, "That was the worst Jon Stewart impression I've ever heard." And of course she means Jon Stewart from The Daily Show. Not realizing who Jon Stewart is to those of us who read comics and watch superhero cartoons. She's laughing. Truth be told, Kitra, that's what I thought he was meaning at first too. So there you go. But as soon as he started speaking Jon Stewart's voice, I figured who he really meant. Anyway, so we did that. Then we went to the floor, the main floor. That's right. After that, and that's where we saw the people, all of the people. Because I wanted to stop by a few places. Wanted to see if Scott Snyder was available. And then we had lunch? Or am I getting that wrong? Oh, I'm screwing that all up. Good thing my wife is here to keep me on track. Maybe you should come onto the show and be the producer, because I'm not very good at that.
Does that make you the boss?
No, that does not make you the boss. But you get to keep me on track. because I go off on tangents all the time, just like I'm doing now. Anyway, so after a movie mashup, then we went to lunch, says my producer, which was interesting because we went to the pizza place in the convention center, and apparently they were short-staffed and in bad moods. At least the cook was. So that was fun to watch. Not so fun to experience it in the moment, considering that we were really hungry and there was no place to sit, although we got lucky there eventually. But anyway, had lunch and then went to the main floor and did some more shopping, found some more comics. Am I? What did we do then? She says I'm screwing it up. Oh, right. Okay, so apparently I'm entering my dementia phase. I blame it on fatigue. Anyway, okay, so after lunch, then we went to, you know what it was? So apparently today's theme is music, because we got to experience Paul and Storm for the first time, and then sort of on a whim, I decided we would go to this thing called Double Clicks, which is another duo, but it's a sister group or a sister duo, and we went there, and I wasn't really expecting much, quite honestly. And the only reason I decided to go was we passed by their booth on the floor yesterday, on day one, and saw that they were a string group. One of them played the cello and one played the guitar, or mandolin or ukulele or something. And so I thought, well, because I like strings, so we would go. So we went, and we were pleasantly surprised there too, and eventually did go buy their CDs, their main CD, and then they have a CD of children's songs, of which, what was it called? Uncle Geek's House, which I absolutely loved, because that's me. Although I don't think my nieces and nephews think of me fondly as the uncle in that song, but Kitra says differently, but I know she's just being nice. Double clicks, and then what did we do? Kirby Crackle was next. So there you go. There's the music. And so we basically had 3.5 hours of music today. And Kyle of Kirby Crackle was awesome. In fact, was it when we were just walking around before that, we stopped by Kirby Crackle's booth? Yeah? She says yes, so it must be okay. And Kyle was there, and I need to talk about this because this is really cool. So we were talking to Kyle, and he asked if there were any songs that we wanted to hear, since we told him we would be at the acoustic set that he was doing. And he disappointed my wife because he wasn't prepared to do Comic Shop because he didn't have... What did he say? Do you remember? He doesn't sing it? Well, but he can still sing it. I don't know. Yeah, so he wasn't prepared to do it. Anyway. We love you, Kyle. I lost my train of thought. See, this is why I need a producer. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at my wife going, tell me what to say. But then she said, we really like Roll Over, which we do. I think you and I like it more than our grandkids. And he played that. That was pretty cool. But during this conversation, I had some Long Box Review T-shirts made up for the con, to help promote the show, right? And my wife was gracious enough to wear them. Anyway, so we're wearing these T-shirts. We're wearing matching shirts. Okay, whatever. Anyway, it's cool. But he notices the logo on my shirt, and he thanks me for the retweets that I've been doing on Twitter, for the Kirby Crackle stuff, the stuff they've been posting, which totally made my day. That he actually knew about that, because see, this is what I figure. Groups like that, like Kirby Crackle and the Emerald City Comicon Twitter feed and all that stuff, I figure is done by somebody else. Not the people that are directly involved that I know or know of. And so just the fact that he somehow knew that. I don't know if he's involved with the Twitter feed for Kirby Crackle directly or just was told about it. I don't know. Or maybe monitors it. I don't care. He mentioned it. He saw it. I thought it was cool. Made my day. Okay, then what do we do? Then we went shopping. There we go. And nothing really eventful there. We just did some shopping. I got some more comics. That was pretty much it. And then we went to the ECCC spotlight on James Robinson. And that was pretty neat. He told some interesting stories of his time as working in the film industry, especially on... Which I didn't realize this, quite honestly. I should know better, but I didn't. But he wrote the original screenplay for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And then told the story about how it got turned into something totally different than what he and Sean Connery signed up for. So there was that. He talked about his new book coming from Image, called The Saviors, which sounds very interesting. Also, he mentioned after the end of the 2 years of Earth 2, the Earth 2 universe will meet up with the New 52 Earth or Earth 1, or I don't know what the hell they're calling it these days. So that'll be interesting. And I heard that there was... I thought that there was something said during one of the DC panels about a spin-off book from Earth 2 that Robinson would be working on or somehow involved with. And I thought he would talk about that during his Spotlight panel, but he declined to say anything further about an upcoming project at DC that he's involved with. So I think it has to do with that, but I'm not sure. And then, oh yeah, I don't know if you were there for this, but Kitra, but he talked about a movie that he produced and directed, I believe, the Comic Book Villains movie, which I knew of, but again, did not know he was involved. I don't know. Maybe he just wrote and produced it, you're right. But I'm going to have to look that up and make you watch it with me. She says, okay. I totally lost my train of thought. Comic Book Villains. Oh, last thing about James Robinson, I did not know that he is knighted. That he at least the guy who introduced him called him Sir James Robinson, which I thought was pretty cool. So Patrick Stewart's not the only knighted Englishman at the Emerald City Comicon. Let's see. And after that, basically we went to dinner. Kitra went and reserved a table at a local restaurant here, and I wandered around trying to find the third floor gaming area and couldn't do it until the very end, and then they wouldn't let me back in because the doors were closing. I'm usually better with maps than that, but apparently the con layout just confused the hell out of me. That was during the double clicks, right? So after I said that, about when I just said the word con, Kitra raised her fist up and said con, and they did that there was a con song at double clicks, and they did that. So that was funny. I guess you had to be there. All right. I don't know if Kitra is putting her finger to her mouth is meaning that she was in thought, or I should shut up now. All right. I'm out of here. Okay. Day 3, Emerald City Comicon. Actually, that's a bit of a cheat because here it is, the Monday following the Emerald City Comicon, and I'm recording this because after the con ended, my wife and I went, had dinner, and I had a few drinks. Came back, and I was so exhausted from the weekend and from the drinking that I promptly went to sleep. Yes, I'm old. Anyway, so I didn't record Sunday night, but here we are. I took some notes for the day. Just wanted to run over those. There's not that much because I spent my time mostly in panels that day. First up in the morning after we got there, we milled around the floor a little bit looking at stuff. But I went to the Terry Moore Spotlight, and that was fun. Blair Butler was there moderating. Actually, I sat a few seats away from her as she was waiting for Terry to arrive, and she was going over her notes. That was kind of neat. Anyway, it was not a whole lot more than I didn't already know about Terry Moore and his background and whatnot, but it was a nice conversation anyway. Then I went to the image panel, and again, there wasn't a whole lot new there. Just a bunch of really interesting people talking about their projects, their ongoing projects. There was one announcement that I didn't know about, and that was a new Greg Rucka book called Lazarus that looked really interesting. The free preview that he talked about should already be out and available by the time that you hear this, so you should check that out. We did go buy some new stuff, some new swag. We bought some Kirby Crackle t-shirts, their new t-shirt that looks pretty cool. And then there was a Pollen Storm t-shirt that Pollen Storm had advertised the day before during their panel with Will Wheaton that I thought was really cool. So I got that. Pollen Storm talked about how you should, or they were told that, if you have a band, such as they are, you should always market it with a logo, your band name, and the website address. And so they made a shirt that just says on the front, logo, L-O-G-O, and then band name, spelled band name on the front, and on the back it says URL. I thought that was hilarious, so I got that. We also bought the Pollen Storm 4 CD pack set. I guess that's redundant to say pack set. We got their 4 CD set that they were selling too, because I really enjoyed them. Anyway, after the Image panel was the Marvel panel. My wife headed off to the Geek and Sundry panel with Felicia Day and Will Wheaton, and after sitting on roughly half of the Marvel panel, I kind of wish I had joined her because there wasn't a whole lot there. I mean, it was neat to see some of the creators, and I did discover that Kelly Sue DeConnick is just really funny, and she's just a cute little redhead. And Matt Fraction is just, he's funnily sarcastic. It was, I have a better appreciation for the guy now that I know how funny he is. And then about halfway through the panel, it's about the time they were starting questions. But before that, I was getting texts from my wife saying basically, if I wanted a seat for Patrick Stewart, which was one thing I was not wanting to miss at the con, that I should come now. And so that was about 2:30ish, and Patrick Stewart came on at 4. So if she was saying that, I decided I better get over there real quick. Which meant that I had to sit through the hour before, which was Dirk Benedict, but that was okay, as long as we had a seat for Patrick Stewart, right? So I get there, and they're not letting anybody in. So it's a Geek and Sundry, there's about 25 minutes or so left of that. They were not letting anybody in until that panel ended. However, and there was some confusion there. The people that were the minions that were helping out weren't quite sure what to do about it, because a lot of people had gone out of the panel to go to the bathroom or to do whatever, and then came back in expecting to get their seat back. And at first they were being told no, and then eventually, after about 10-15 minutes of me standing there, this other guy came in. He was more of a head minion, I guess, than the others that were there, saying if you have a seat saved, then you could go in. So I went in and joined my wife for the last little bit of Geek and Sundry, and then we sat through Dirk Benedict, and oh my God. Sometimes when you have this vision of someone that you liked in a show or a movie or whatever, some sort of creative person, and so you have it in your mind's eye what this person is like based on the character they play. And then you meet them in real life, and you find out that they're not at all like that, and they're not at all fitting the image that you had in your mind. That was Dirk Benedict for me. I was a huge original Battlestar Galactica fan, and he definitely was not Starbuck. The guy was just rambling, and sometimes, I don't know, I was going to say incoherent, but I guess that is accurate. Slightly incoherent, I'll say. And quite honestly, a bit offensive. He talked about the reimagining of Starbuck in the new Battlestar Galactica on Sci-Fi when they made her female, and it was quite clear he did not like that, and kept referring to Hollywood trying to castrate him, or at least his portrayal of Starbuck, which I thought was ridiculous. But anyway, my wife took great offense at that because he kept saying castration and implying that a character being recast as female was somehow inferior. And I totally agree with her on that. And then finally, the last event of the ECCC 2013, Patrick Stewart. It was great. The guy was charming and funny, kind of the antithesis of Dirk Benedict. Yeah, he just told some interesting stories. They were, like I said, they were funny. Answered a bunch of questions from fans. And he did talk about his. He has a play, 2 plays that he's doing with Ian McKellen and 2 as yet unnamed American actors. Waiting for Godot, and I don't remember the other one. But they're going to do, I guess, a preview of it in Berkeley. And then they'll be in New York doing those shows. So that was a really cool way to end my Emerald City Comicon 2013. I can't imagine, they brought in Leonard Nimoy, Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, William Shatner, and now Patrick Stewart. So I can't imagine who Emerald City will bring in next. Maybe some Star Wars people. I mean, Carrie Fisher was scheduled to appear this year, but she bowed out due to sickness. But, I'm going to enrage some people perhaps, but it's just Carrie Fisher. It's not like Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford or something. Let's see, just some random thoughts. I saw a lot of course, neat cosplayers. I think the most people I saw was people dressed up as Poison Ivy. There was a lot of those. And on Sunday, at least, I saw several Tony Starks, complete with the chest arc reactor, glowing chest arc reactor, with the beards and sunglasses. So they were sporting Tony Stark pretty well. The best costume I saw, though, my wife actually pointed it out, was Flo from the Progressive commercials. I thought that was pretty neat. And that's it. We bought some more stuff. Like I said, some more t-shirts. We bought some those vinyl bobbleheads. We bought a couple of those for our granddaughters. And I think that's about it. We're going to go get breakfast here pretty soon, and then we're heading back home. Hey, everybody. I wanted to add on here at the end of the episode a little contest for you. Emerald City Comicon teamed up with Comixology to provide a free digital comic, an Atomic Robo comic. And I have one code that I would like to give to a lucky listener. So what I'd like you to do, if you're interested in obtaining this free exclusive digital comic, send email to longboxreview@gmail.com. Include the word contest in the subject line, and then include your name in the body of the email. If you'd like, you can leave me a note, a nice note, telling me how much you like the show. Or, anything else. Just say hey. I promise not to sell your email address to any third party or anything like that. Just be between you and me. And, of course, I will not spam you with anything after this, unless you are the winner, the lucky winner. So I'm going to let this contest go for 2 weeks. So on or about March 23rd, I will randomly choose a winner from the entries I receive. So there you go. You get a free exclusive comic from the Emerald City Comicon and Comixology from me. And as always, you can leave feedback at longboxreview@gmail.com, the same email address you can submit the contest entry to. I guess that's it. Hope you enjoyed the day-by-day look at the Emerald City Comicon. We had a great time. I had a great time. I love that show. I'm now thinking of going to the Rose City Comicon, which is in Portland, Oregon, in September. They've teamed up with the Emerald City Comicon crew to put on a show this year, so I may go to that, which, that would be interesting because I normally only go to the Seattle show and the much smaller but closer con in Spokane, Washington. So it'd be kind of nice to see or go to a con that is perhaps in between Seattle and Spokane in terms of size, I guess. Anyway, thanks for listening.